So, welcome to the Sports Marketing and Media Bachelor of Science degree program. I'm Josh Mora. I am the program director and the architect, the creator of this program. And if I can be just a little bit immodest, this degree program is unlike anything else that's being taught anywhere in sports marketing or sports business education. And we know this because we are teaching to the bleeding outer boundary of where the industry itself is today. So indulge me for a minute by letting us tell you our story. Because as it turns out, our story is a love story. We love sports. And we love the business of sports. And we love teaching all of our students who come to us loving the business of sports all of the cool aspects about the business of sports. So when they come to us loving sports, they learn to love the business of sports. And we love that our students and our graduates are going to change the business of sports. And maybe I can illustrate this best visually.
Do you love sports? Learn the new set of skills that the industry needs with a degree from FullSail University. Use digital media and video to create experiences. Start conversations and engage fans by connecting with them wherever they are. Use marketing and PR to build the excitement for events and promotions and help teams, brands, and organizations make an impact. Learn more. Sports marketing and media at FullSail University.
So that's pretty exciting, right? I mean, every time I see that little video, it makes me want to come screaming out of the tunnel and kick the crap out of the Green Bay Packers. But that's just me. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and come to this position having worked in sports business and sports marketing and media for about 18 years, mostly on the media side, covered sports on television in Chicago and in New York, wrote as a blogger for sports and media and financial websites, was briefly an executive for an entertainment company in Chicago as well. But what's really relevant about that is how we've used some of my connections and some of my experiences, and subsequently the connections and experiences of our faculty to help create a curriculum that provides our students with a skill set that is relevant for today's sports business. So if you think about it, it does make sense that FullSail, which, after all, we do not play football on Saturday afternoons, right, as a university, but it makes sense that we would be involved in sports business or sports marketing. Because sports, yes, it's about touchdowns and scoring goals and home runs, but it's also entertainment. Entertainment is sports. So when I arrived at FullSail, we immediately launched a research campaign that lasted several months. We talked to hundreds of people from a variety of different types of positions and different levels and different types of companies within the sports business industry. And what we heard from them with near unanimity was that they were having trouble connecting their more experienced, Gen X aged sales guys, those guys and people who are really good at the retail relationships in sports business and business development, with the new ways in which younger generations, the millennials, communicate with each other and communicate about sports. And to that end, we felt, hey, there's something that isn't being taught anywhere else, but is very much rooted in FullSail's core competencies. So to rephrase that just a little bit, the way in which fans and consumers now ingest sports product has changed very rapidly over the past few years. In fact, it's still changing. It's constant evolution and revolution. And what the people whom we interviewed were telling us was they were, and their companies were, leaving money-making opportunities on the table, behaving inefficiently, in large part, not because they didn't understand the change, but they didn't know how to deal with the change. They lacked the talent and the labor force to be able to help them do that job. So we developed a mission statement to go along with the program. The mission of the Sports Marketing and Media program is to prepare students to become dynamic, media-fluent innovators in sports marketing through a curriculum that synchronizes traditional sports marketing principles with advanced media technologies. Let's repeat that. Our mission is to prepare students to be dynamic, media-fluent innovators in sports marketing by synchronizing traditional sports marketing principles with advanced media technologies. In other words, we're teaching them how to conduct business by promoting media and art. We're giving them a skill set that matters for the jobs that are relevant now, but we're also positioning them to invent what comes next in sports marketing and in particular in fan engagement. So a little bit of history as to why this is necessary. I'm old enough to remember a time when sports properties had one obligation, and by properties I mean teams, events, companies, networks, agencies, etc. They had one obligation, and that was engage you as a fan while you were attending their event live and in person. And then in the 80s, suddenly every event started to be broadcast on television, and so their obligation was doubled. Entertain you while you're at the game or at the event, and entertain you while you're at home watching on television. And then in the 90s, right, we suddenly had the internet. And a fan could reach out to an organization 24/7. But it was still very much a one-way conversation. It was that property making available what they wanted to make available to you, the fan. And then in the first decade of the 21st century, with social media, those conversations became two-way conversations. And they became multifaceted. And fans started sharing ideas and assets of a sports property outside of the control of that sports property. Now, most of our students don't know anything about any of that when they come to us, and that's fine. It's our job to take them down the rabbit hole. Our goal is to help them see how that creates opportunities for them in terms of what their careers might be. And our challenges are to give them the language in which sports business is conducted, to help them understand the vernacular and the terminology of the philosophies and the practices. And as importantly, or maybe more importantly, it's to give them that skill set that matters now, to teach them how to understand and create and control content and to apply it to sports business fundamentals and current practices. Now, we have a faculty that consists of 22 other people, and they come from incredible backgrounds. They work for great companies: ESPN, the Miami Heat, the Tampa Bay Rays, the San Diego Chargers, Livestrong, Virginia Tech University Athletics. We also have an international chess champion on our faculty. They are a tremendous team, and it is my honor to be able to work with them and to lead them. There are two ways you can take our program. You can take it online, you can take it on campus. It's a 32-month program. One course a month for 32 months, so you graduate in about 2.5 years, a little bit more. And what's really interesting about it is, you know, it may sound like, hey, it's sports, it's fun. It's intense. If you're going to make it in this industry, you're going to have to learn how to produce. There are ways in which you might take the program on campus and certain months where you'll be in the classroom, actually physically in the classroom, for 30 hours in a week. It's a lot. But we give you all of the support and the resources to be able to see your dreams through and complete the program. Our goal, our responsibility, is to have our students graduate with the ability to connect the traits of individual aspects of sports business, aspects that heretofore have existed pretty much in their own vertical silos, right? Your marketing department, your communications department, your community relations department. All of those things are converging. We start this by helping you understand, helping the student understand how a sports property engages a fan. We do this through our first core class. It's called History of Sports Media. Not about names and dates at all. It's about how media has been used throughout history to help engage the fan. And we teach it in reverse chronological order. So we start today and we work backwards through history to help illustrate that opportunity. Because in the end, when we take away all of your tools, all of your texting and your mobile phones and the ways we communicate today and give you just words to work with, well, if you can convey how exciting it is to be a part of a sports event in just words, well, you're halfway to being a great sports marketer after just your first core class. Following that, we teach our students how to tell stories through pictures. Still pictures, video as well. All of our students receive a camera and a light kit and an audio mixer. We teach them the basics of shooting a basic production, whether that's an interview set or a short film like the one you're seeing here, so that they can be able to tell stories. The reason this is important is because content is as inexpensive as ever to produce. So sports companies have an obligation to become media companies. To this point, they haven't been very good at becoming those media companies, again, in part because they don't have the resources on staff. They're not really in position to be able to do that. And unlike entertainment companies, they've been very slow to trust, much less embrace, this change in philosophy about how to entertain your fans and consumers. Once we teach them how to do video and pictures, we also teach them how to tell stories digitally in our Fundamentals of Digital Storytelling class and our Web Design and Editing class. That means any way in which a property might communicate with that fan through what we would call new media or advanced media, such as an infographic. So this was done by a student in the year when the two Harbaughs, the brothers John and Jim, coached against each other in the Super Bowl. It takes that argument, that discussion, the debate that you would have in your dorm room or at the sports bar, and it makes it visual, the way that the millennial generation ingests content, and it creates a discussion out of very little effort. Once we teach our students how to create content, then we run them through all of the different niches of sports business so that they get to see sports business through the lens of a content creator. And along the way, they learn very important aspects of sports business. It's revenue generation, it's brand development and project management, media rights, law and contracts, and so on. What's really neat about this is as they're exposed to each element along the way, they become fluent in that part of the industry which really sings to them, that thing that they really love to be able to do. They're also going to have some stumbles. Every single student has had a stumble at some point along the way. All of our valedictorians have had a stumble along the way. That's good too, because it shows them maybe what they're not quite as good at, what they're not so adept at thinking about. But they're still conversant in that language and in that topic, which is important because when they get into the industry, they're still going to have to work with that part of the business. It all culminates with a final project, a marketing plan that they create essentially over the final two classes. The first is called Marketing Plans and Campaign Development. That's the one that is inward-facing. We teach them about marketing plan strategies and architecture, and they start to assemble a plan. And then in the final class, final project, it's much more outward-facing. They finish the plan itself, they learn how to market and pitch that plan, and market and pitch themselves. And it can be about a company that they want to go and work for, so that when they complete the project, they've learned how to create strategic approaches to money-making, revenue generation opportunities as close to that passion point that has sunk to them as is possible. Along the way, we've designated one assignment from every class that the students save in a virtual portfolio. The truth is, of course, they can save whatever they want to. But we had one student who was from somewhere in the interior of Oregon, an online student, who was at an action sports event, met the director of the agency that was putting on the event. They connected. The student sent this director the final project from our sports events and entertainment class. The director was blown away and hired him to do contract work while he was still a student with us. So we were very happy about that. We get great input from our 9-person advisory board, which is made up of unbelievably accomplished executives from a variety of different types of companies and sports, teams, agencies, governing bodies, and so on. They are visiting with us twice a year. They inform us about what's going on in the industry, what they see as the next trends of the industry. They contribute to and analyze our curriculum to help make sure that we are on that outer boundary. And of course, they've provided some wonderful opportunities for our students, including one-off projects, internships, and job placement as well. We have other industry experts, yes, members of our advisory board, but others as well, who come in and do guest lectures in our classes, both on campus and online. We also reverse that process and take our students out of the classroom, both on campus and online, so that they can have experiences. Starting at 9 o'clock on this screen behind me, you've got one that we did with the PGA show and the Golf Channel. Moving clockwise, Orlando City Soccer and the Citrus Bowl, ESPN Wide World of Sports, the Central Florida Sports Commission, which puts on a lot of the events that are here in Florida, including the NCAA basketball tournament. That's Max Starks, the big guy in the middle there on the bottom, the former NFL player, and his football camp that we had students to. The point of showing all of this to you is not to boast about who our friends are in the industry. It's to afford our students the opportunity to have a real tactile sense of how great sports product is fueled by created content. It allows them real-world experiences, real-time opportunities for things that are going to be produced and used, and maybe most importantly, it helps them connect with the people who are running these projects, and it gets them started on building a network that helps them launch their careers. Because ultimately, in the end, that's where they want to be, right? They want to be out in a career in this really fun, really passionate field. And they always question, well, where am I going to be when I'm through with that walk through your program? So I've assembled a list here of a dozen or so jobs that are available right now in the industry. I guarantee you that if a student started with us today and finished with us in 2.5 years, 2 or 3 of these jobs won't exist, or at the very least, they will exist in a way that is different from how they exist today. And that's fine. We teach our students as best as we can to be mostly platform agnostic, right? It makes sense. I mean, if you think back several years ago, you had MySpace, and MySpace begets Facebook, and then Pinterest, and Twitter, and Instagram, and Vines, and Snapchat. There is always going to be a next thing. We teach our students to understand where we are and how we got here. And if they understand those things, they can predict what might be coming next. We are teaching them how to combine their ability to understand art and business for sports so that they can become the innovators of 21st century sports marketing and fan engagement. Look, in the end, this is all about the passion of sports. We love sports, and we love the business of sports. And we believe that our students who come to us loving sports are going to leave loving the business of sports and going to be successful in the business of sports. And we believe this because we believe that we are teaching them through a very unique program, that we have an interdependent team of faculty and advisors and other resources here that are instructing them in a skill set that is going to give them a significant competitive advantage when they go out looking for jobs to get into this highly competitive field. And we believe that our students and graduates are going to have an enormous positive impact on the companies that hire them. And we believe that to the extent that FullSail has a great reputation in its more established fields of entertainment, right? Music and film and gaming and the like, that the students and graduates of this program are going to fulfill that reputation and extend that reputation in this other field of entertainment, which is sports. And what we've already seen from the industry's involvement with our students and the way that they have already begun to soak up our graduates and hire our graduates is that the industry loves the graduates of FullSail Sports Marketing and Media Program. Thank you very much.